The In Conversation podcast series with author Nigel Beckles.
Welcome to the podcast.
Please like the podcast and subscribe to this channel. Thank you.
Have you experienced several failed relationships or been through a divorce? How can you avoid making the same mistakes again? How to avoid making the big relationship mistakes is out now.
Hi, my name is Nigel Beckles. My new book is packed with practical and common sense strategies that you can use to make better relationship choices.
Now you can discover the dangerous myths about love. If your relationship expectations are realistic, why you could be falling in love for all the wrong reasons.
How to avoid making the big relationship mistakes. It's a book that could change your life.
Available from amazon.co.uk. Kindle version also available.
The very best way to promote your podcasts. Podpage makes it easy to create a podcast website with just a few clicks. Every page is optimized to be found on Google and it stays up to date forever. For more information, visit podpage.com. The future of podcast promotion.
Get ready for takeoff.
Welcome back to my In Conversation podcast series. My guest for this episode has reversed his type 2 diabetes condition, is the CEO of his own company, and also an author, American Terrance Hutchinson. Hi Terrance, welcome to my podcast series. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate the opportunity.
You're very welcome. I understand you were diagnosed with type 2 diabetes back in 2009. So what happened?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. I was going through a spell. I was going through a nasty divorce. I had to dissolve a lot of property. And I'm 39 years old. Now I'm moving to Atlanta, Georgia with my mother at 39 years old. And I was angry. I was frustrated. I was irritable. I didn't know I was going to symptoms of depression. When I went through therapy to talk about it, that's when I realized I was depressed. Like the signs and symptoms of depression in men that I found out was irritability, frustration, all those crazy symptoms. So I was partying. I was womanizing. I was traveling all over the place, and my body just shut down. I was in Miami at a pool party and my body just shut down and I didn't know what was going on. I was extremely thirsty all the time, lack of appetite. I lost weight. Like within 3 days, I lost like 20 something pounds. I had cotton mouth, extreme dry mouth, frequent urination, improper sleeping habits because I kept getting up, going to the bathroom. So I knew something was wrong and I went to my doctor and I passed out right in the lobby, and they said, "You know what's going on?" I woke up in the ambulance, and I said, "Nah." They said, "Yo, my blood glucose sugar was like a 1360, and my A1C was 9.5, and I was supposed to be dead in a diabetic coma, and but I survived it, and I was in ICU for 3.5 days. 5 of us checked in with diabetes complication, and I'm the only person that walked out of there like 3.5 days later.
So what steps did you take to recover?
It was a process of steps because when you're in the hospital, they're coming in and they're giving you all these pamphlets and information on how to maintain diabetes. They're showing you all the injection spots, your dietitians and stuff like that. But once the doctor bill came, like the medicine they had me on, my insurance did not cover that medicine. And it was like a pen with pre-diagnosed milligrams of insulin called Lantus at the time. And there's 5 pens in a pack. It's $160 for 5 pens per week. And I said, wait a minute, my insurance don't cover this because it was a new drug. So all of a sudden I said, man, I'm going to go broke. I'm going to stay sick and I'm going to be broke in the process trying to buy this medicine just to keep me alive. So I had to figure out ways to save my life and save my checking account as well. So I ran across a few websites, a diabetic community called D-Life, and I read all these information about people were holistically taking control of their diabetes and reversing it. And I learned so the steps I learned how to eat properly, eat better, nutritional timing, how to use herbs and spices, how to look at the glycemic index to figure out what foods are higher in sugars than others, what times to exercise, how long I should exercise. And then I got back in school, got my license as a trainer, nutritionist. Now I do all type of stuff like that. So those was the steps. Once I learned that, it just fell into place. So I had to learn how to eat properly. I had to know my insulin responses on the foods that I was consuming. Your healthy elixirs that you already have in your cabinets, your herbs and spices like cumin and cinnamon, turmeric and fresh garlic, olive oil, nutmeg, those type of elixirs would really help curb your appetite, help fortify your immune system, help control your bad cholesterol, blood pressure, your sugar levels. I had no clue. And I have a background in culinary arts. But once I learned nutrition, sports nutrition, and how it really can positively or negatively affect your diabetes or blood pressure or whatever lifestyle conditions they are, that's when it clicked for me. And I said, oh, I got this. So it was through diet, well, not even diet, proper nutrition, using your healthy elixirs, herbs and spices, exercising, purposely exercising, keeping your stress down, no alcohol, no junk food, no processed food, all those things. Those was the necessary steps that I used and that to reverse type 2 diabetes, and the steps that I coach my clients on how to prevent type 2 diabetes.
So how long did it take you to reverse the diabetes condition then?
It took about a year or so, and that's only because the doctors, they're not going to just automatically say, oh, you reversed it, or I'm going to take you off the medicine. They're going to wean you off that medicine. They're not going to say, oh, you did well, you're doing well for the last 6 weeks or months, I'm going to take you off. They're not going to do that. They're going to adjust your medicine and make sure that they're doing that. You are responsible with your own health, that they're going to say, okay, let's take them off. And so it took me about a year, but medically, my primary physicians, they took me off within a year. But I was already ready to go before that year is over. But they're not going to just say, oh, you great, you can get off the medicine. No, you got to earn that spot. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. So around about a year.
So I understand that you're a certified fitness and nutrition specialist. Were you into that work before your diagnosis or afterwards?
That's a good question, because the only thing that helped me, that walked me out of that ICU emergency room situation, is because prior to that, I was constantly, working out, hitting the gym, but not as a professional. I was just doing things to just waste time. And my doctors, they said, well, because you was in semi-good shape, that would help you. But when you're laying in ICU, and I said, man, I went from 242 pounds to 220 pounds within 3 days. And I felt so small. I felt so little. And but when you're laying there with IVs in your arm, I said, God, if you get me out of this one, I'm going to hit the gym. I'm going to go hard. I got to get my life back under control. And I was to a gym at a local church. And I kept riding past the church gym every day going to my job. And I said, one of these days I'm going to pull in there. And one day I just pulled in, and I signed up, and I started working hard. So like 6 months later, I was getting some size and everything like that on me. And then a lady walked in, and she said, are you one of the trainers here? And the light bulb went off. So I got my licenses on that. And I, like I said earlier, I got into sports nutrition. I got all those documents. And so to answer your question, I got in it more professionally after my diabetes.
So you manage your own company. So on your journey, was that the next natural step for you?
Yeah, I mean, in your brokenness comes success. Like when you think that things like your life is falling apart, it's actually falling into place. Like the diabetes scare was one of the best things that ever happened to me in my whole life. Because of that, I was able to build a brand and a business out of it, publish a few books, do a radio show. Now I've got a successful podcast, done television, radio, magazines, blogs, all of that because of diabetes. So yeah, I mean, that was the cornerstone of all the success, man, for real.
So what's your company called? And when did you start the company?
Well, the company's named Your Best Lifestyles. I started the company in 2010, and it started out slow, just like any other company, especially when it comes down to the wellness or fitness company, especially in an area like Atlanta, Georgia. Like, there's so many trainers here, so many different companies, everybody trying to do it, so it's like, it's very challenging to be in this arena because it's oversaturated. However, once you find your niche, and diabetes and lifestyle conditions was my niche. Once I found my niche, I was able to carve out a path for me. So if you said something about diabetes, or lifestyle conditions, or even Alzheimer's, stroke, cardiac heart disease, you're going to say my name as the guy that's going to help you reverse certain situations.
You mentioned that you are an author. What are your books called and what are they about?
Right now, two books. I have two recipe books. One of it is 150 quick and easy recipes to transform your body and change the way you look by changing the way you eat. And that came out of the diabetes scare because of my 30 years of culinary arts. I was a personal chef for years. And so I had recipes. I just tweaked my recipes and put the recipe book out. And that's did pretty good. It's on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, all where you sell online books. And then the second book is a dessert book called 25 irresistible desserts that you can indulge. So it's like, it's all sugar-free desserts, whether it's chocolates, puddings, yogurts, all that different great stuff. So kind of like, you can have your cake and eat it too as a diabetic. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, and that was suggested that I put that book out too by an old friend of mine. And I said, yeah, I can do that. And I put that book out as well. So most people, when they're diabetics, they still love sugar. They still crave sugar. They want the sugar-free things, but they're not really a lot of great options around. So I created that book around that. So the third book that's being edited right now, that people are really waiting on it, is called F Diabetes, 7 Proven Strategies to Reversal. Now that's going to be a more controversial book because a lot of diabetes foundation and educators do not want me to put the book out because it takes money from their company, because the only thing they want to talk about is you maintaining. I'm talking about reversal. I'm going to show you proven strategies of how to reverse this lifestyle condition that's killing our community, African Americans, slowly. And so when COVID hit, I pushed the book back because now I wanted to add a chapter on type 2 diabetes, or being a diabetic in connection with COVID-19. A lot of people don't know, if you are a type 2 diabetic, your risk of contracting COVID-19 has increased because your immune system can be lower. Even if you have high blood pressure, or you're asthmatic, or you have seasonal allergies, your increases of catching COVID will increase. So diabetes is one of those things. So I'm putting that, I wrote a blog or article with the Medical Fitness Network, which is a global network, and they published that blog. So I'm going to take that blog that I wrote and put it as a chapter in the book, because it's very important to add COVID-19 when this book come out. I cannot push this book out without having that chapter in there with COVID-19 and type 2 diabetes or type 1 diabetes. It has to be on top of the time. People are waiting on it, and I'm about to put it out, man. It's definitely going to be out by next month, or the end of this month for sure.
So I understand that you've been nominated for a few awards. What were they for?
I've been nominated for Best Self-Help Magazines, Best Personal Trainer, the Best of Cobb, Best Wellness Professional, the Rice Awards, the Best Health and Wellness Professional. Right now I'm nominated for the Best Med Fitness Professional of 2020, which is through the Medical Fitness Organization. And that's huge. That's a global platform. I was nominated. I won Mr. July. They had me on the cover of that. So now, Best Fitness Professional in 2020, which is going to go in California for the big old organization. So that right there, I'm really hoping that I win that, because that's going to be going on a global tour with that. And then have your program on Amazon TV, Amazon Prime Television, Medical Fitness Television. So I'll be doing a lot of shows off of that platform.
So besides looking forward to publishing your third book soon, what other interests do you have?
This year, we was trying to go around the world, around the country, just talking, doing health and wellness seminars, just talking to people the importance of eating right, exercising, and just had a lot of speaking engagements. So right now, I want to get back to more speaking engagements where we are encouraging people to eat better, take better care of themselves, making sure that even on your job, that you are doing the right things on your job. Because when you're working, whether you're a business owner, entrepreneur, or you're a top professional in your organization or corporation, when you're being pulled from side to side from every direction, the last thing you're thinking about is eating properly, drinking your water, exercising. And then when you remember that, it's already too late. You're super hungry and you tend to overeat, or you do binge eating or snack too much on the wrong foods. So the whole thing is to get people to take time out and say, look, I cannot let hunger outrun me. Okay, when hunger outruns you, everything smells and looks amazing at that point. Even as a diabetic, you can't eat those things. So you got to remember how to do that. So right now, we're just trying to get back on that global stage of traveling all around the world, talking about health and wellness, selling the books, getting people back in shape, getting people back in a quality of life, increasing their activities of daily living, and being out there for their grandkids. Like what type of grandparent do you want to be? Do you want to be that fun, active grandparent, or you want to be that grandparent who's just unfortunately can't move around because you got arthritis, a bad joint pain, you're overweight, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're not your best self in your latter years, 70, 60, 70, 80 years old, and you can't go outside and play in the backyard with your grandkids because you have too many health problems that could have been easily prevented. So that's one of my goals right now, just to get people active so they can live that lifestyle where they can enjoy their later years with their grandkids. Ain't no better feeling in the world running around in the backyard with your grandkids having fun. When you can't get out of that chair and you can't move and you got all these things, because, you're not going to be any fun, okay? So you want to be, my mother is 73 years old. She's super active. She's going all over. She is able to drive herself all over the place. Her cognitive awareness is very sharp. She don't need no help. She's super independent, and she's happy. She has no pain in her body, and that's what I want for everybody. You know what I mean? Imagine being 80 years old and you're still able to move around like you were 60 or 50 years old. We're trying to boost your vitality, increase your lifespan, and I'm 53 years old. I feel great. So I want other people to feel just as great as I do.
So, Terrance, how can people contact you?
You can go to my website at www.yourbestlifestyles.com, and it has all my information there, everything from my social media stuff, my merchandise, my books, my programs, my blogs. Everything is on the website. One-stop shop.
Terrance in the USA, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, man. I appreciate the opportunity. It was great chopping it up with you, man, all the way from the UK. I appreciate that, man. It's a blessing. Thank you, sir. Thank you, King. Much love to you guys over there in the UK, man. I love you guys. Stay safe, man. Just do your thing. Just stay happy, stay strong, man, and keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Thank you for listening. Please like and subscribe. Another In Conversation podcast coming soon.